Welcome to Time of Death. This video is for informational purposes and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Vance Bird. Bird was shot and killed on Friday, December 4th, 2015 in the 9200 block of South Hoover Street in Vermont Vista, according to LA County Coroner records. Armando Felix and Jeremiah White were subsequently arrested and charged with the murder. The following is the evidence at trial. Shortly after 9 p.m. on December 4th, 2015, someone shot and killed Vance Bird. Prior to the shooting, the victim's father, AJ, and a third unnamed person were outside the victim's house. Shortly before the shooting, the victim's father and AJ observed two cars, a black Infiniti and a silver Mercedes, drive by twice. AJ went inside her home, located near the victim's home, because she didn't want to be a statistic. Meanwhile, the victim parked his car in front of his house. The victim went inside his house, but then exited the house, telling his father that he shouldn't be outside alone. As the victim's father was closing the gate in front of the house, he observed someone running towards him, firing shots. The victim's father testified the shooter held the gun with two hands. The shooter stood about 10 to 15 feet away and shot multiple times, hitting the victim. The victim's father was surprised that the shooter did not hit him because the shots were fired in his direction. The victim fell down on the driveway in front of the house. JG lived near the victim. He heard 5 or 6 gunshots, looked outside his window, and observed a man wearing a hat run towards a metal object, grab the object, and run back to the car. JG described the object as silver and believed it could have been the firearm clip or a knife. A bullet penetrated the victim's skull, killing him. A bullet grazed his finger, and another entered the back of his leg. Police found 3 9mm cartridge casings and 3 bullet fragments at the scene of the shooting. The shooter was a passenger in a black Infiniti, and as noted above, a silver Mercedes followed the Infiniti. It is undisputed that defendant Felix's aunt owns a black Infiniti, and either defendant White or his father owns a silver Mercedes. On December 6, 2015, 2 days after the shooting, a witness heard a rumor that persons named Mondo and Gotti G or Gotti J were responsible for the murder. The witness didn't know who either Mondo or Gotti J was. An unidentified person told the witness that Mondo had puffy hair. The witness conveyed this information to detectives. In a 6-pack shown to him on December 7, 2015, the witness identified defendant Felix as the shooter. At trial, he identified Felix as the shooter. He testified that Felix was wearing a hat at the time of the shooting, and that the hat looked like a snow hat. The witness testified that he was focused on the shooter's face. Ms. Lewis went to the police station on December 14, 2015, 10 days after the shooting, and reported she had information about a shooting that occurred about a week earlier. Lewis reported that defendant White was related to her 2 sisters. He was not related to her, but she referred to him as her brother. Lewis reported that defendant White and Felix murdered victim Vance Bird, although she didn't refer to the victim by name, but referred to him as the boy. Lewis reported that the killing was gang-related. Lewis said defendant White's Mercedes was behind the black Infiniti. Lewis also reported defendant White's moniker as Gotti J, and that he was a member of the Main Street Mafia Crips. Lewis stated defendant Felix's monikers included Mondo. Lewis said defendants were in the black Infiniti. Lewis did not know exactly how they shot him, but defendant White told her both of them killed him and they had to come back because defendant Felix dropped his car keys next to the body. Lewis further told police that 50 and Eastwood, other members of Main Street Mafia Crips, were in the silver Mercedes. Lewis said defendants learned that the victim was not a gang member. Lewis stated that defendants changed their phone numbers on the day after the shooting. She reported they thought he was a gangbanger until defendant White found out the next day that he wasn't, and he said, oh well, he shouldn't have been in the Hoovers. At trial, Lewis testified that in December 2015, she lived in an apartment in Bellflower with defendant White and his wife. Lewis testified that on December 4th, 2015, defendant White was at the apartment the entire day. Lewis said defendant White never told her about a murder. Lewis claimed she made a false report to the police, explaining, I lied in the police station. Lewis testified that she made a big-ass lie. Lewis testified that she heard the story, and she just put them in the story because defendant White pissed her off. Lewis testified, I just heard about it and I pinned it on them. She testified that she didn't remember who told her about the murder. She said one of the reasons she made up the story was that she owed defendant White money. Lewis testified she had sex with both defendants Felix and White. Felix broke up with her when he learned she had a sexual relationship with White, and White then forced her out of the apartment. Lewis stole $10,000 from White. When she went to the police station to report the killing, Lewis was mad at defendant White. She was also mad at defendant Felix. She wanted to do something to get even. Lewis testified that when people piss her off, she takes revenge. Evidence from cell phone towers was consistent with defendant White's and Felix's cell phones being in the area of the shooting at the time of the shooting. Officer Andrew Jenkins testified about gangs. Officer Jenkins explained that committing crimes benefit gangs because gangs seek to instill fear and to obtain a reputation for violence. Officer Jenkins testified about a rivalry between the Main Street Mafia Crips and the Hoover criminals. Officer Jenkins opined that defendant Felix and White were members of the Main Street Mafia Crips and testified both Felix and White had tattoos reflecting their gang membership. After hearing a hypothetical question with facts similar to the current case, Officer Jenkins testified that the crime was for the benefit of and in association with a criminal street gang. He also testified that the victim, Vance Bird, was not a gang member. Following the trial, the jury convicted defendant Felix of murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. The jury also found true the gang and gun enhancements. The court sentenced Felix to a total term of 90 years to life. With the exception of the personal use and discharge firearm enhancements, the jury convicted defendant White of the same offenses and the same enhancements. The court sentenced White to a total term of 90 years to life. Vance Bird was 18 years old at the time of death.